It's another great day here in Manatee County, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, August 13th. As we do every day here in Manatee County, we pray to our God, and we pledge to our country. And this morning, we have leading our invocation is Jeannie McIntyre from Altar Fellowship. And then we'll be doing our pledge is Dylan Raleigh, Eagle Scout, here today. So, Pastor, and if everyone could please rise.
Good morning. On the night before his arrest, Jesus Christ took off his robes and washed his disciples' feet, reminding us all that he came to serve and not to be served. I am honored this morning to be before a group of people that care enough to serve others. Let's pray. Lord, we come before you this morning recognizing that you are our all in all, that without you we have no life, that we owe you our life, and that it is your will for us not only to love you, but to love our community and our neighbors. I bless this assembly. I pray for your wisdom and power over each one of our commissioners. I pray for your wisdom, power, and compassion in every attendee of this meeting. May all the discussions bring honor to your name and build this community, for your word declares, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." Bless this assembly. May everything we do today bless your heart also. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. You all have a wonderful and productive morning.
Thank you. Not too fast.
At this moment, please remove any non-religious headgear. Scouts salute, all others right hand over their heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Scouts. Thank you, Pastor. What I'd like to do right now, and before we get into the main part of the agenda, is I'd like to call up our Public Safety Director, Jody Fisk, is going to give us an update on everything Hurricane Debbie.
Good morning, Jody Fisk, Public Safety Director. Just wanted to go over a few of some things that happened during the storm and then the continuing recovery efforts that are going on. So Saturday, August 3rd at noon, our EOC went to a full level 1 activation. That's the full 24-hour operations with all of our emergency support functions. During that time, when we started seeing impacts, because of the efforts of our fire districts and beach patrol, we were able to facilitate the rescue of over 200 people in the county using high water vehicles and marine rescue vehicles that were all county assets. We were one of the few counties that did not have to request the assets from the state to have them staged because we already had them here in the county. FDEM, all of our resources that went to the Florida Division of Emergency Management were filled and on the ground within 24 hours. That includes the National Guard. During the time that we were activated, our ECC 911 operators took over 4,000 emergency calls, and our 311 operators took over 7,000 calls. We had 52 animals that were actively rescued directly following landfall. Directly following landfall, the damage assessments also began. We used both boots on the ground and drone operations all throughout the county due to the flooding that we saw. Preliminary numbers include 164 major, 90 minor, and 54 affected residential structures, to include about $6.8 million estimated in damage to county critical infrastructure. Again, those are preliminary numbers. Starting today, FEMA disaster assistance teams will be on the ground doing the door-to-door assessments because Manatee County on August 10th was included in the major declaration, which opened up individual assistance, which is the money that goes directly to those who apply for it to FEMA for those needs. So I want to emphasize there are FEMA teams on the ground. Please do not hesitate to ask them for their identification. If someone comes to your door and you're not sure, they are all carrying proper identification. You can also download the FEMA app, which will allow you to apply for assistance through there. Please pay attention to the documentation that's requested and make sure that you are following up. If you have any questions, again, the FEMA teams, and we are currently working with FEMA to identify a location for a disaster recovery center should that become necessary. We are also in discussions for the mobile disaster bus, which can go throughout the county just based on what FEMA is telling us. We have county staff that are staffing pods at Buffalo Creek and Lakewood Ranch. They will remain throughout the week. And I do want to emphasize, we are one of the few counties that is able to staff the pod with county staff without having to rely on the National Guard resources, allowing them to be in some of the areas that did see significant flooding, to include Taylor County and Sarasota County. 311 is still operational, so if you have damages, if you need assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out, give your information, and we will make sure that FEMA makes contact, our team will make contact, and we'll make sure to get you in touch with the right people. I wanted to also point out that according to the Southwest Florida Water Management District, the 500-year 24-hour rainfall totals is 12.3 inches. This event, we had rainfall totals across the county that were close to or exceeded those 24-hour rainfall totals that range from 11.5 to 12.5 inches. It's also important to note that around 7 p.m., the night that we were seeing impacts, the Weather Service had increased their forecast, where we were initially forecasted to see 5 to 10 inches with the isolated pockets of 15. We were then told we had already seen approximately 9 inches across the county, with the potential that we could see another 5 to 20 inches on top of that. So even with those forecast totals, our teams were able to facilitate rescue. We were able to continue our 24-hour operations, and our FDEM resources, all of our missions were requested and filled within 24 hours. So with that, I will open it up to questions before I bring up Pat Shea with utilities.
You want to go to yeah, we'll bring Pat up.
Okay.
We have, then I
Pat
need
Shea,
to bring
Director of
you back up.
Utilities.
Well, good morning, Board of County Commissioners. I'm Pat Shea, Utilities Director. Before I start talking about debris management and the status of our response to flooding as it relates to debris, I want to acknowledge that as we talk about numbers, statistics, we acknowledge that this is affecting people in their homes. This is more than just debris, it's their private property, keepsakes, things that money can't replace. So as we move forward, we understand the frustration of our community to want to address this situation as quickly as possible. And I want to assure people that from a debris management perspective, where trucks began rolling this morning with our contractor, we're on the street with 4 trucks to start. So we'll be making rounds through the neighborhood. This effort really began in earnest as the storm was hitting the area. We began contact and communications with our debris haulers and some of our site inspectors to be able to gather data. Starting today, the plan is to go through the 27th of August. If that were to change, if we're seeing more debris or people just aren't capable due to the circumstances to get their debris to their corner or to their street line in an effective manner, we will be making several rounds. I want to assure people that if a truck were to roll through your neighborhood or your community today, don't panic. We will be making several rounds to make sure every customer, every resident is served by this service. Again, I think we're the best we can be if we have the right information. So people are free to email us at css@mymanatee.org. If they're seeing something in their neighborhood, this is kind of a widespread. There's some neighborhoods that were hit quite heavily, and those are neighborhoods that we're well aware of. It's kind of the one-offs, 1 or 2 on a block that we may not be aware of. So certainly encourage people to use that email. They can also call us at 941-792-8811 and use extension 8001, and that will get them to our landfill and our landfill staff directly. Or always encourage using 311. That's probably the most convenient one-stop shop for relying that information. So, once the declaration was determined, we did a lot of reconnaissance on Friday and Saturday and Monday, and we will be hauling pretty much continuously from Monday through Saturday to try to address this. So I, along with Director Fisk, are available for questions if you have some.
Mr. Chair, I have a question
sir.
for Mr. Shea.
Commissioner Van Ostenbridge.
So there's no schedule for debris pickup. You're just going to go around, start hitting neighborhoods as we can. People should put things out by the curb, and then you'll make 2 passes, essentially, is what I'm understanding.
Commissioner Van Ostenbridge, that's correct. That would be the plan. As we start to roll out, it'll go very quickly the next few days. So areas that have already been identified, people have been communicated with, will know it is coming. We're working with our consultant on creating a dashboard that we would be able to either post or share with you all, so you're able to kind of understand where things are and where there'll be. It just changes so quickly in real time that if we were to put out information right now, by this afternoon, that information will probably be inaccurate and then just create more confusion.
You plan to hit every neighborhood in the county, or are you just hitting the most heavily impacted areas?
We will hit any area that is impacted as it relates to debris.
Okay.
So, but some of those, again, if there's one, within a 1 acre, we would not necessarily know that if they didn't contact us.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, I would want to add that as you're hearing, we're still in recovery mode. And I know there are folks that have reached out to my office and I've talked to that are upset about essentially what happened during the storm and the way their neighborhood or their home was impacted. And they want to know essentially what we're going to do. And that's a good question. And I would just want to address that now by saying that as recovery mode comes to a completion, we then go into an analysis mode to analyze what went right, what went wrong, more importantly. And we will do that. How did our stormwater infrastructure react? What went well? What didn't go well? Did anything fail? And all that will be analyzed, and a report will come back to this board at the proper time. We're still watching water recede, so we're not at that point in time yet. So if I'm sure there are people at home watching and maybe people who are here who have concerns about that. I just wanted to be sure to address that now and make sure they understand what this is an update on how the recovery is going up to this point and where we are. There is a time and place for that, and it's coming, but we don't want to come forward without full information. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Director Shea, you done? All right, great. Director Fisk, if you come right back up. Commissioner Van Ostenbridge.
Thank you, sir. So obviously during these storm events, our employees, they sign up for this. They sign up to work for Manatee County, and many of them at the EOC for days on end, which again, they sign up for, and we do pay them time and a half, I believe. So, but we're appreciative of the fact that they're away from their families during that time. The guy who's in charge of stormwater, there was actually a tornado. His family got an alert on their phone that there was a tornado in their area, and he's, of course, not with them. And so those types of things, they do happen. And I just want to thank all of our staff for what they do. They are doing work that matters. They are serving this county, and I really appreciate it. On Tuesday, August 2nd, we were headed out. Myself, Commissioner Ron, Parnell, Deputy Director Parnell, Chief of Staff Andy Butterfield, and our Head of Public Safety, Jody Fisk, all sort of separately headed out that way. But we were going out towards the dam. We were going to meet up at the dam, and I believe the governor was supposed to come and land there. And about the time we got there, he had detoured, go somewhere else. So we went ahead and on with the dam tour ourselves. And then when we left, it was sort of an odd sequence of events, right? So governor no-shows, that changes up timing and our plan. We leave, and as we're leaving, Director Fisk's County Tahoe breaks down. And so I go back, pick up, everybody piles into my truck. And I mean, this is all part of the story. And if the sequence of events hadn't happened the way it did, the timing wouldn't have happened the way it did. And so we decided to go over to Golf Course Road at Jim Davis, which was where we had very significant flooding, maybe the worst in the county, and go out there and do damage assessment and just put our eyes on the situation. we get there, and Stu is there when we get there, who is one of our video guys. He's out there with a drone doing the exact same thing, getting footage for stormwater engineers. And while we're standing there talking, there was a Good Samaritan who I don't know if we ever identified. You did? Okay. We're standing around talking. He was basically doing the same exact thing we were. The road had been blocked, but people kept moving barricades, and it was one of those things I was calling Chad Butzo, telling him, we have to babysit these barricades, have somebody just go around on a loop and keep, making sure they're not being moved. And someone attempted to drive through swift-moving, high water on a flooded road, all the things we do, everything we can to push information out. Please don't do this. This is not smart. Please don't do this. And so someone attempted to do that. And it's amazing how the time lapse goes in your head, because it seemed like slow motion as the car was going through. Meanwhile, Stu has a drone in the air, and that's another strange sequence of events, because he had filmed, and then you and I essentially wanted to know how high the drone could go, how far the drone could go. And so puts a new battery in it, puts it up in the air, and while he's doing that, here it is. The car starts driving through, and I never in a million years thought this would happen. Jody was worried about it from the minute the person started to go through, and she was doing well, and then she started to lose traction. Her little SUV started to lose traction, and she hits the gas wisely, but it threw so much water on her windshield that she couldn't see, and ultimately her two right tires go off of the pavement, and then she goes into the ditch and she starts floating off to the side. Then it's like things went from slow motion to super fast. Next thing I know, Jody throws her phone at me, and she's already dialed 911. I'm on the phone with 911. The Good Samaritan and Jody and Andy take off running that direction. Call 911, try and get help down there. By the time I hang up with them, Mike and I jump in the truck, and we start backing. There's Andy yelling to us, "Get the truck down here." But they went straight into floodwater, didn't bat an eye, went running straight down in the floodwater with this guy who, he's awesome, he's a hero. He pulls this lady out of her car. She used to worry about her personal belongings. You see Jody trying to keep her purse dry, in the middle of all that, keeping the purse dry. And then they bring her back towards us. We ended up backing the truck down a little ways until everybody panicked and thought the truck was going to float away. It wasn't, but that's all right. And we put her in the back of the truck, and we bring her back to high ground, and fire showed up pretty short time afterwards. But it's the instinct of your public safety director to instantly just start rushing down there on foot into floodwater that we know is dangerous, just swept a car away. And this Good Samaritan, who I hope you'll identify if he's okay with that in a moment when you have the microphone. And Andy, an old Navy guy, goes, "You're at home in the water, I suppose." Heads out in there as well. And talk about people going above and beyond. Boy, the truck looks pretty good. I should talk to Connolly about a sponsorship. But they head right down in there, didn't bat an eye, right into danger to save somebody. And we want to recognize the two of you today, county employees doing work that matters. You're not first responders, but you certainly were that day. So the microphone is yours.
So I wasn't actually expecting that. Thank you. I've been duly chastised by many of my friends who are first responders who have let me know exactly how not smart that was. But you are correct, that was pretty fast moving water. I am pulling up the gentleman's information for you. His name is Derek Belden. He is actually the representative with Tiger Dam that the state sent down. So when we got out there, we were meeting with him, and we were discussing the fact that we actually couldn't put the Tiger Dam because the water was moving so swift. It was just very rapid. So thank you for the recognition. I'm glad that lady was okay. I hope she was able to recover her vehicle, and I'm going to give it to Andy.
First, with all due respect, I'll never forgive you for this, Commissioner. I hate the video age, but we had an awesome videographer and a drone operator that was out there doing real assessment for damage and to see where things could help. But Jody's amazing, and the Good Samaritan, I never got his name, now I know. He was fantastic, and just a great example of people helping people when things are bad. So
It's absolutely
What I
true.
do is bring up Deputy County Administrator according to Paul, she's going to read something for you guys.
So I wanted to present both of them, Mr. Butterfield and Ms. Fisk, with a certificate of heroism. So this is in recognition of your extraordinary courage, selflessness, and dedication to the safety and well-being of the people of Manatee County. Your brave actions in the face of danger exemplify the highest ideals of public service and heroism. So this is doesn't even say enough. I know Charlie, Mr. Bishop, wanted to be here more than anything. He's unfortunately not feeling well, but there's nothing more that he would have liked to do than present these to you himself. But I'll do it since he's not here. So
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Cory.
for what you did for them.
I've never seen a Navy guy run so fast, though.
There's no additional pay for this. It's just the certificate.
No, that's really a Tuesday morning for most of our responders in the county. So, yeah, I'm really awkward with this. So thank you.
Is that your full update on Hurricane Debbie?
That is. I will expect to have more Thursday. We are talking with FEMA every single day. So as soon as they decide if they want to do a disaster recovery center stationary or bring in the bus, we will be sure to push those updates out.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Deputy County Administrator DePaul, is there any changes or announcements to the agenda?
Hang on. There we go. No, sir, there's no changes since last night.
Thank you very much.
Red means go on the microphone.
Okay.
Are there any commissioners like to have any items removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, we're going to move into what we do now. It's awards, presentations, and proclamations. And I'd like for Commissioner Bearden to come down, and we have a proclamation for Purple Heart Day. Being in the military, it's a medal that I'm glad I didn't get, because getting a Purple Heart means that you've been wounded in combat and have selflessly put yourself out there to be in a hostile combat situation and to risk your life for this country.
Anybody else?
And these gentlemen here are all Purple Heart recipients. And Commissioner Bearden, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Chairman. I have the honor to present this proclamation for Purple Heart Day, which is on August 7th. These men sitting behind me today have taken the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and have defended our Constitution. And that's why, I make it a point to tell elected officials that their primary role is to defend the Constitution and protect constitutional rights of the people. And so giving this proclamation today is an honor. Before I give this, these gentlemen here need to be honored everywhere they go. I could tell you, Dot back here received 2 Purple Hearts. Daniel here, who is one of our own here in Manatee County, has received a Purple Heart. And Gil has also received a Purple Heart. And they took the ultimate sacrifice. And when you've seen that, you know how important it is to recognize times such as this as Purple Heart Day. So, whereas the people of Manatee County have great admiration and the utmost gratitude for all the citizens of our community who have selflessly served in the armed forces, which has been vital in maintaining the freedom and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens, and whereas citizens of our community have been wounded in action or killed in action while serving in the armed forces and have been awarded the Purple Heart for their ultimate sacrifices. And whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest American military decoration and was created as the badge of military merit made of purple cloth in the shape of a heart with the word merit sewn upon it. On August 7th, 1782, in Newburgh, New York, by General George Washington, and whereas the heritage it represents is sacred to those who know the price paid to wear the Purple Heart, and whereas August 7th is nationally recognized as Purple Heart Day, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Manatee County, Florida, that August 7th, 2024 shall be known, designated, and set aside as Purple Heart Day in Manatee County, Florida, adopted with a quorum present and voting this 13th day of August 2024, signed by our chairman, Commissioner Mike Ron. Could you come up and say a few words if you like? And just, each one of you, tell us how you received your Purple Hearts.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yep.
Good morning. I'm a Manatee County resident. I was born here. And after I was wounded in Afghanistan, my second time being wounded, I retired and made my way back home. I was actually in dental school at UF, and one of my local friends that I grew up with here, Scott Doherty, was killed July the 6th of 2004. He's also a local here. I was in the reserves at the time. I quit dental school and joined full-time 6 days after his death. And I wanted to take care of Marines. He was a Marine. And so I enlisted full-time to be an FMF corpsman with the Marine Corps. And I went straight into Corps School in Chicago. From there, I went to Field Medical Service School, which was in Camp Lejeune at Camp Geiger. After Camp Geiger, my battalion came and picked me up, 3rd Battalion, 2nd Marines. And from there on out, I stayed with them from right around 2005 through 2012. I was in Iraq multiple different times. I was wounded in 2008 when I was in Rawa, Iraq. I was struck by a round during a raid, and from there I went to Afghanistan. It was one of my last deployments in Sangin. The Marine Corps dedicated that as one of the bloodiest fights that the Marines have had in Afghanistan. And another one of the guys here was also in that same area of operation. We actually relieved his unit. I was with Scout Sniper Platoon for many of the years, and I was wounded severely in Afghanistan and medically retired. The medal means a lot. It's I don't know how to explain it really. It's like, I mean, you don't want it, right? But it happens. It's great you get awarded it, but the true heroes are our friends, our brothers that never came home. And I just want to represent them and just do right by them. So, but I appreciate you guys for making this a day to be honored here in Manatee County as a Manatee County resident and Purple Heart recipient. Thank you, gentlemen. Ma'am.
Thank you, Doc.
Rob.
My name is Daniel, and I also served as a Marine, like a couple of you folks here,
Hoorah.
and had the privilege of serving in the Scout Sniper Platoon and was injured in Afghanistan. These folks actually, small world, relieved my unit. We got there, but it was an interesting place. We got in a firefight every day. It was a unique experience. And as he mentioned, Purple Heart's not something anybody's looking to get, but I'm definitely proud of it and proud of my guys. So thank you for acknowledging the folks in Manatee County that have bled for their nation and for what you folks do to honor them. So thank you very much.
Good fight.
Good morning. To add my thanks, seems like It's not much, but I tell you, it is quite a bit. Having had the misfortune to be in the wrong place at the wrong time twice in Vietnam, I will tell you that the county's recognition here today and the Purple Heart program that was instituted a few years ago with recognizing having spaces, parking spaces reserved, is a very significant to those of us who have received this medal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, I would just say what seems like very little, but I would just say thank you. This county and our residents and this nation can really never thank you enough for the sacrifice that you made and thought that you came that close to making the ultimate sacrifice for your country and for democracy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Real quick, before I get into bring all the scouts down, we're in Desert Storm. We had a Navy doc with us, and they have a kind of a weird job because they're to fix us when we're broken, but to return fire when we're shot at. So, you don't have too many doctors that go into combat and have that duality of what their job is to save life, but they take a life to defend the guys that they're with. So, it's number 5. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. What I'd like to do is call the scouts in the room down. Here. Scouts, come on. This is one of the great things we get to do and recognize, teenagers and young men that make a difference in our community. And everyone's aware of the scouts here. And we have great scouts here in Manatee County. We have great scout troops here in Manatee County. So we thought it was important to honor the Scouts of America with an Appreciation Day. And what I'd like to do is to read the proclamation right now with all the scouts here. And come on, troop leaders, come on down. Everybody in the scouts, come on. Come on. Don't, you guys are the one leading these young men. Whereas the mission of the Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetime by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and law. And whereas the Scouts of America have made significant contributions to improving the quality of life of the residents of Manatee County through the completion of various community service projects. Example of these projects is included in donation drives, planting trees, and the construction of bat houses that they just did, and we have the GT Bray Park. And whereas the most recent partnership between Manatee County and the Scouts of America was the establishment of a flag box disposal project completed by the Parish Troop 146. The flag box allows proper disposal of torn and tattered American flags. Whereas properly disposing of the American flag has always been a tradition, the Scouts have shown great patriotism by executing the flag disposal project and providing all the Manatee County residents the opportunity to properly dispose of their flags. Therefore, let it be proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Manatee County, Florida, that August 13, 2024 shall be known and designated and set aside as Scouts of America Appreciation Day here in Manatee County, adopted with a quorum present and voting on the 13th day of August 2024, and signed by myself, Mike Ron. And what I'd like to do is, for everybody to, if you take a look, this was their project, and actually it was led by Dylan, who is our local Eagle Scout at 146. And as you can see, this is for the proper disposal of the American flag. And what happens is that any citizen in Manatee County, be located all of our county government buildings, libraries here, and all of our other offices. Any citizen can go and dispose of American flag properly. And just put it in there, and the scouts will come by, 146 will come by, they'll pick them up, and they'll give them to like a VFW or American Legion to be properly disposed of. And they have a flag ceremony that takes place that does that. So it's an honor to give, where's Dylan? It's an honor to give you the scouts, and then Andy to the. And then what we like to do also is we're going to demonstrate how it works, but we're going to show a quick video. Back it up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, but- as we-
So today is my Eagle Scout project. We are installing 9 American flag collection boxes for flags that are torn and tattered. So I just hope to achieve that others are basically informed on how flags are properly retired, and they're not just being thrown away, because these flags do mean a lot for our country.
So Manatee County partnered with Dylan Raleigh, who's actually my son, being able to put in flag retirement collection boxes around the county. He has a passion for educating people and collecting flags, not letting them go to the landfill.
When you're a United States Marine, we understand that the colors of the United States and the flag of the United States means so much to every one of us in the military, and how we respect that flag and how we serve under that flag means more to us than anything. It's the flag of our country. It's the flag that we've gone to battle under. It's the flag that brave men and women have sacrificed their life under. So we want to make sure that when this flag is protected and it's disposed of properly by all of our citizens. And what they've done here today is they provided such a great opportunity for our citizens to do that.
I am extremely proud of Dylan. He is an amazing, amazing young man. Words can't even describe everything he does, everything he touches, he excels, and he just makes me so proud.
Before we show how the flag box works and the collection's done, I'd like to do one more thing. This is a certificate of recognition. The Board of County Commissioners, and we're presenting to Dylan Raleigh. This certificate of recognition is presented to Dylan Raleigh for whose dedication and hard work has made significant impact on our community. And as part of his Eagle Scout project, Dylan created 9 flag retirement boxes for Manatee County, providing a respectful and meaningful way for residents to retire the American flag. His efforts not only honor our nation's symbol, but also inspires others to take pride in their community and their country. Dylan's exemplary service and unwavering commitment to preserving our shared values are acknowledged on this day, August 13th, 2024. And Dylan, this is the certificate of recognition from the board to you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it again. Thank you for everything you do. The great scout. So what we're going to do is they're going to give a quick demonstration on how the whole process works. So you guys are going to go up. Oh, sir. Oh, everybody go up. Can we get that off the screen and get the camera back on them? No, we want the cameras on them. Thank you. And that's how it's done. That easy. So the citizens, you don't have to fold the flag like that. So when anyone has a flag, they can come in and just put it in the box. You don't have to fold it. The scouts will come and get open the box, and they will fold the flags properly and deliver them for a proper ceremony to be retired. So with that, scouts, I thank you so much, and I thank you for everything you do for Manatee County. And we appreciate the boxes, and thank you again. And now go back to school. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know I'm not, Scott. All right, what I'd like to do now is if I can get a motion to adopt all the proclamations, that would be,
We can do it verbally.
yeah, we can do verbal.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you very much. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, moving on with the rest of the agenda. We're going to move into citizens' comments. This is where citizens are given an opportunity to come before the board and talk about any comments on anything that's they desire. They get 3 minutes. What I need you to do is come state your name, county residence, and you have 3 minutes. And it is a 30-minute time limit. So first up on the board is it's Dina. I'm horrible about your last name. Sabu. I always butcher your last name. I'm sorry. I think you get it right at some point.
Okay.
Morning, ma'am.
Hi. Is this on?
You should, yeah, put it there and make sure the microphone's on for you also. Yeah, they'll get it for you.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, I turned the other way. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Now I got it working. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dina Sabo. I am a Manatee County resident. And I'm here again to talk about the dogs at the shelter. I sent an email. I've sent a couple recently, and just trying to get the conversation going and get updates, encouraging you to put the shelter process back up on the agenda so that conversations can be had open in front of the public so that we have an idea what's going on. We were promised 14 months ago an expedited build for Bishop to get the dogs out of the dilapidated building over in Palmetto, and it seems to be moving quite slowly, and it's very disappointing. There are many of us that believe that if this was a priority, that this project would be moving quite more efficiently and quickly. I would like to point out today that, it's just not about the dogs when we're here talking about the conditions that they're being kept in. It's about the people that are showing up to go work with those dogs in the situation that they're working in. The shelter is chronically understaffed, and a case could be made for the fact that there's a lot of people that do not want to go work in a dilapidated building that has chronic flooding issues, backflow problems, which is dog feces coming up through the plumbing, in areas where the electrical is not stable. And, there's a lot of things, and we're all aware of it, that are going on at the shelter that are reasons why we're pushing to move to Bishop. But for the people that go in there, God bless them for showing up every day and caring about those dogs, but there's not enough of them. We all know it. I was speaking with Jen Hume just today, and we were talking about capacity of care. And that means, to answer all of your questions, because I heard somebody ask it a year ago, what do you need at the shelter? Capacity of care, based on studies, is a minimum of 1 animal care specialist per 20 dogs, every day, all day. And the shelter's often running with 2 for 105 dogs that we have today. That's not enough. So the people showing up are working in substandard conditions, and they're overwhelmed, they're overworked, there's not enough of them. It really is a tireless job, and they go there and they do it, and I appreciate that. But if we could get that building going, we could probably attract more people that want to work there and create a better work environment and help alleviate a lot of these stresses that we keep revisiting. I keep standing here and we keep talking about it, and you keep hearing me. So when I send an email, I would like it if somebody would let me know what's going on, so maybe we don't always have to have this conversation. But when I send something and I get a response that says, did this come up? I have read your email. Thank you for taking time to put your thoughts in writing. These are not thoughts. These are facts. And I need you all to do your part. We have a problem here. Amanda Ballard, this is in your district. Kevin, your district has the bishop. Like, come on, let's get this going and keep the community updated as to where is the progress? Why haven't we broke ground? Why do we keep pushing this off? We have an epidemic in this county and statewide, and this is one piece of it. Let's find the solutions quick. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Martin Gelfriend?
No, in the South, they call it good friend.
Friend, okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Please state your name, county residence, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Martin Goodfriend. I represent Cimarron Homeowners Association, which is off 75th Street around 9th Avenue. We're a community of 25 homes, and our centerpiece is a beautiful lake with 2 small islands on it. And we, like certain other communities, have been plagued for years with overgrowth of filamentous algae. This is a problem that you all talked about, in your early neighborhood magazine, et cetera, early this year, where there are 6 articles written by the commissioners, you all, on the importance of water quality in Manatee County. We take that very seriously too, and we want to do our part. Our water flows in, 75% of the water that flows into Lake Cimarron comes from adjoining communities, 3 different ones, et cetera. We are 25% of the contributors to the water. Our water flows into Catalina, our neighborhood across the street, and then from Catalina, it flows into Palmasola Bay. There have been speakers here in the past who have talked about, pollution-related issues, in Palmasola Bay. So it's a community type thing. We're 25% of the water contributors, and we pay, of course, 100% of the cost. However, on May 28th, you all approved our request for a grant to attack the algae problem and to improve water quality. I met earlier this year with our Commissioner Kevin, who explained the community grant program to me, which was really fascinating. But then he introduced me to set up meetings where I could meet with Michaela and other people in water utilities so we could get a good handle on the scope of the issue that we're facing. So I want to thank you for approving our grant. We are really dedicated. We're working with some of the smartest people in Florida. At University of Florida, Michelle Atkinson. We're going with Dr. Dixon of Benchmark Environmental, and I'll be meeting with the president of another organization tomorrow who focuses on improving water quality. Now, with the whole grant program, it works, many aspects work very well. However, there's one issue that can be improved to help smaller community organizations like ours, 25 families, as opposed to, let's say, a Meadowcroft neighbor that has 300. The issue is fundamentally cash flow. Under the present program, we're not eligible to receive any reimbursement of matching funds until the whole project, everything that we do, is fully completed, documented, submitted, and reviewed. You've already approved the money, so it's not there. This is not a cost item to the county, but simply a payment schedule. So therefore, I'd like to submit to you a proposal on how we could receive money on a pay-as-we-go basis, and I will submit that to our commissioner, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next up is Christopher Whitaker. Please state your name, county residence, and you have 3 minutes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Good morning. I'm Chris Whitaker. I'm a lifelong resident of Manatee County. My grandparents built one of the first resorts on Amarillo Island. My grandma is Katie Parola, former mayor of Braden Beach. My grandfather is an Air Force pilot, a decorated ace in World War II. My father currently coordinates and deploys storm response teams to hard-hit areas from storms year-round. I have family and friends that are law enforcement, county workers, and fire rescue. I myself am a husband and father that worked with the City of Bradenton Fire Department for almost a decade after I graduated high school. I currently own a business that services the residents of Manatee and Sarasota County, and I chase hurricanes and storms to surf the very best waves that I can find. And I document them as much as possible. I've seen and documented a staggering number of storms, and I'm very concerned about the impacts Debbie, a very weak system, what she brought and the problems she magnified, and how the response was handled by county officials. I believe a public investigation and study needs to be made. The citizens deserve to know what happened and why the decision officials made, so that we can better be prepared for the next one. There will be more and high possibility of stronger ones. It's just a matter of time. Past storms similar to Debbie that were handled significantly better than this one are Hurricane Charlie. Shout out to Mr. Bishop. Tropical Storm Gabriel, Fred, Emily, Hurricane Idalia, and last, Hurricane Ian 2 years ago. Why are these storms handled so much better? Why did the storm water flow to and why? Which areas flooded the worst? Did areas that didn't flood before get flooding with Debbie? Could we have let more dam water out prior to storm surge and high tide? Should we prepare for the worst case scenario sooner? Could we have prepared our citizens better and alerted them earlier? And then before the manual dam release, not after, so they could protect life and animals. Was flooding in new areas caused by historic land development in our area recently that has filled wetlands in previous areas that helped drain the water in years past? How much land have we filled in the county with concrete and non-porous cement since Hurricane Ian? Are these signs of inadequate infrastructure? Do we need to ensure and build better infrastructure prior to clearing land and building homes? And can we be more transparent and clear with the media? I ask these pertinent questions because I care about my community. I have seen and documented what this weak storm did to my neighbors and parish, and I grieve with them. I repeat, I grew up in a military family with good, strong morals, and I was taught the greatest commandments anyone could ever learn, and that is why I'm here. Matthew 27, verse 37, 39, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest first commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. I pray you all understand, because if you do, great things will happen in our community, and the floodgates of heaven will begin to rain down on all of us. Thank you. And I'm going to keep documenting every storm that comes through here until, God willing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir. She got it. All right. Thank you, sir. Next up is Matthew Schwitzenitz. Hopefully I got close on that, sir. Please state your name, county residence, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
Matthew Saucinich, Manatee County resident. I just want to show you to start off real quick.
Yeah, please don't put your phone down there. If you do, please don't put your phone down there.
Can I put
No,
my phone
sir.
down there? Or no, I
Because
cannot.
if you do, we're going to give it to the clerk.
Okay.
I mean, that's just,
All right, I got 3 minutes. Let me get this clear. I don't trust you. I don't trust the words that were coming out of your mouth. We have a neighborhood here that does not trust the words coming out of your mouth. We do not trust your response from Hurricane Debbie. Okay, I've lived in my neighborhood for 15 years. I have a high standing. I work in law enforcement. I've been at EOCs when hurricanes come through. The response that I saw was absolutely terrible. Once my family was evacuated, my neighborhood was evacuated to Braden River Middle School, I was doing first aid. You guys didn't even have an ambulance at your evacuation point. Okay? I had to stop what I was doing and where I was working to rush home. 15 years I live in my neighborhood. I've never seen water in my neighborhood. I'm shaking right now because I'm so upset. This has displaced my family. This has displaced the community. An independent investigation needs to come. I appreciate you bringing that up. It needs to come sooner than later. Facts will come out. You have a group, you have a community that's devastated, okay? I was going to put my phone down and show you. Go into my neighborhood. I haven't seen one of your faces in my neighborhood. The only county official I've seen in my neighborhood was on her day off volunteering, talking to us, okay? Go to my neighborhood, Braden River Middle School, River Club. You go 100 yards down, this is what I was going to show you. There's a creek bed. That creek bed is ripped through. There's absolutely no sediment in there. That is not rising water. That is rushing water. 110% rushing water. I have been in disaster zones. I've worked in law enforcement for 15 years. I have deployed all over the state. I know what flooding is. I know what rising water is. I've never seen rushing water until Monday when that destroyed my house and has set my life back. You guys need to do your job. You need to get into the neighborhoods. You need to care about your citizens. And if you do care about your citizens, you would get an independent investigation out there immediately. Something went wrong. This was not natural. Grandstanding in the media does not help us at all. 1 minute and 30 seconds into your press conference, sir, you said the dam held. You think that's what the community needs right now? We don't need that, okay? We absolutely do not need that. We do not need grandstanding. We need assistance. With the assistance, we need an investigation. Absolutely ridiculous what I've seen. I'm speechless. And you're going to have a bunch of my neighbors come up and they're going to say the same thing. And I want you to look into their eyes, give them the dedication that they deserve, and get an independent investigation of what happened. We deserve answers. We don't deserve answers 6 months from now. We need you all in our neighborhoods talking to us.
Thank you, sir. Please, this is a public meeting. We don't have applause and that type of stuff. I understand your frustration. I mean, it's a public meeting. It's being all recorded. So please, I mean, I understand your frustration, believe me, and we're looking into all of it. So stop. If I'd hate to have you removed after having all this conversation. You know, so up next is Dalton Nelson. Please state your name, county residence, and you have 3 minutes, sir. Thank you.
I just want to state before I get up here and speak, I am a Manatee County resident, but I am in the district right now that does not have somebody in that chair. So I just want to make that known. We don't have anybody in our district right now. Hi, my name is Dalton Nelson. I'm a resident of Manatee County and obviously a parish, and I live off of 675 Rutland Road. We've grown accustomed to the preparations prior to major weather events coming our way over the years, and the water in our area up until this year has been very predictable and has not gotten anywhere close to touching our houses. It has not threatened the loss of major personal property and destroyed our land as bad as this year. We, as many others on 675 and in the entire parish community, have had to deal with the consequences of the land around us changing, and it has fell on deaf ears. Now is our time for our voices to be heard. Many communities like Salt Meadow, just down the road from us, should have never been approved and has caused irreversible flooding and destruction to so many homes in such a small area of the community. There's a lot of problems. Your communication efforts were inadequate and ineffective. When we call after the fact to find out information, many members hide behind emails and telephone numbers and they never respond back to you. I've never gotten a phone call back from many people that I've talked to. The question is, what is there to hide about this situation? You guys had ample time, ample amount of resources to get the message out more broadly, yet you guys put it out on social media and messages that had typos that didn't get to some of us till hours after the dam had been released. Many residents not receiving them at all. And at the peak of the data was well after all the rain had fallen. You released the dam at 3 foot of storm surge, 30-mile-an-hour inland wind at high tide. We should be able to get information and have answers for all the people who lost property in their homes. In just an hour and 45-minute span, when I left on Monday morning around 9 a.m., I was coming back at 10:45 and the water had already rose significantly faster than anybody had ever anticipated in this area. And I have documentation for all this as well if you guys want to see it. A lot of the information you're working with is years old and hasn't been updated since these new communities have been added to our infrastructure. And that leads me to my next point. One of your own employees told us that we should have never flooded based off of the utilities maps that they were provided. Okay, we know we flood. A lot of us know we flood. But the question is, why did we flood this bad? Because you guys have constantly added all these communities, and the water has nowhere to go. You built right up against where water could have went with Salt Meadows, and instead of a field being there to absorb that water, there was nowhere else for it to go. The water has to be dealt with now. There needs to be an independent investigation, and there needs to be a study more in depth as to how these communities affect the people that are here older. There's people in Sarasota County that have new communities all around them. The community's been there 15 years. They've never seen water until this year. There's no question in my mind that there needs to be an independent study and an independent investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up is Joyce Bond. Good morning, ma'am. You know the rules.
Yes, good morning. I'm Joyce Jordan. I'm a Manatee County resident. And I also am here to talk about the shelter, but in relation to Debbie. The shelter was supposed to close at 3 o'clock on Sunday. The email was sent out at 9:30 Sunday morning that it would close at 3 o'clock. At 9:43, another email was sent out and said that they were going to close at noon, and they started packing up at 10:30. So this meant the animals were there for almost 24 hours without anyone to feed them, to take care of them, to check on them. And I just want to tell you a little story about what happened when I worked at the shelter. I used to come in early every time so I could say hi to all the dogs and turn the cards, because that was a routine we had before Janine came. And as I went through the kennels, I found a broken hose that was spraying water all into the kennels. All of the staff were there. They were in a meeting. They never bothered to check on the animals before they held their meeting, which they did every time, so that the poor dogs had to wait even longer to get out. I certainly hope this isn't the procedure now, but who knows, because they don't even have a supervisor now. They don't even have a supervisor. I ran and got the supervisor, and she helped me clean it up. But that is just unbelievable. It shouldn't happen. And they could have flooded in there. Those kennels flood. I have cleaned them. And when you clean them and push the water out and it comes back up at you, you know you've got a problem. And when I reported it to the staff, they said, well, we know about that. Who cares? Something needs to be done with this building, and it needs to be emptied. The people and the dogs are suffering, and you have done nothing. We have been waiting and waiting and waiting for a year and a half now. We got fired because of it, but we still can't get our kennels. I wouldn't even mind being fired if I at least could get the dogs safe, but nothing has been done. It was just an excuse to fire us so we'd shut up. Well, we're not going to shut up. We're here and we're coming back every time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Jill Situinitz.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name and county residence.
Jill Sossanich, Manatee County. Sorry, it's been a long week. My voice is strained.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say I have a job. My husband has a job. We all have jobs. We would rather be at our job right now. We are all displaced. Last Monday, I was working from home. My employer knew that there was going to be a lot of wind and rain coming and going. They closed our office, work from home. Checked the weather forecast in the morning. Weather forecaster stated outer bands coming in and out throughout the day. Nothing new to Florida residents. Towards the end of the day, the outer bands would be farther apart. You could still go to the store. You could still do this, that, right? No interruption to daily life. Our home flooded within an hour and a half. I was home by myself with my children. My 8-year-old daughter was crying, having a meltdown because our house was flooding. We are 2 miles from the Sarasota border, so we're on the southern end of the county. Braden River runs in the back of our neighborhood. My house, along with our entire neighborhood, was flooded. I have some neighbors behind me who are in the back of our neighborhood who is closer to Braden River. It doesn't matter. The severity of the damage in our neighborhood is unbelievable. All of our lives are on the curb. All of our furniture is on the curb. All of our drywall, all of our cabinets. We are displaced from our home. We are displaced from our lives. We've been in our home since 2011, and we have experienced so many different types of storms. Nothing, not one storm, not even Ian, 2 years ago, that sat on top of us for 2 days compares to the damage and suffering and pain and agony we have gone through. We demand an investigation. If this was your mom's house, would you be here sitting at your job right now, or would you be in my spot fighting for her, trying to get her back in her home? We had a temporary home donated to us. Do you know how hard that is? To have someone say, do you need a home to stay in? I have an 80-year-old neighbor who was walking her dog in the morning. She saw a surge of water rushing from the back of our neighborhood. And let me get this on the record. Our home was not flooded from water from there. Our home was flooded water from the ground, rushing from the back of our neighborhood, filling my house, filling our house. All of our children's furniture, gone. All of my furniture, gone. I will never put anything under my bed. My husband has $10,000 worth of baseball cards from his grandfather from 1950s, gone. Another neighbor we have is hard of hearing. She has a cochlear implant. She has made sure to register with all of the special hearing impaired notifications with the county. She did not receive one alert. Sorry. I have another neighbor. Her house flooded with almost 2 feet of water. 4 of her 5 cars are now totaled. I can't even describe how bad it is. Come to our neighborhood right now. You will think that we've been hit by a major hurricane based on the damage and everybody's lives on the curb, and we haven't. We didn't even take a direct hit. Debbie was 50 to 60 miles off the coast of our state and hit. It was the same trajectory as Italia, storm last year. Went up our coast, hit Cedar Key. We got the outer bands. We need an open conversation. We need transparency. We need you to step in and show us why you're sitting in those chairs. You're all up for re-election. I am shaking right now because my son is pink eye from the river that went through my home. My daughter is scared every time she sees the weather report and sees a storm coming. September is our spicy hurricane month. It's not even September yet. I am shaking right now because I just want to be at my job, but I'm here because I have no home. My neighbors have no home. We have been the vultures with the restoration companies trying to gouge us, trying to charge me $45,000 to demo my home. 45. And then when I asked if he had a better number, because my husband is first responder and a combat veteran, honorably served in the United States Marine Corps, he dropped $15,000 in 10 seconds. Really? 30 grand? But I needed $10,000 in cash for him to start the job. Do I look like I have $10,000 to you? This is insane. We need action. We need you to step up and come to our neighborhood. You will feel it. You will see it. You will smell it. I'm so tired of smelling mold. We're all tired of smelling it. And we haven't seen anybody from the county except one lady on a Sunday with a notepad and a pen. Who else is coming? We'll be there. I can't work right now. How could I possibly work right now? Could you work? This is a never-ending nightmare I want to wake up from. All of our neighbors, I can't tell you, every day, more cars are being towed out of our neighborhood because of the flood. We are hard working. We are the heart of America in our neighborhood. We are good people, tax-paying citizens. We don't deserve to be silenced. Please respond to our emails. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. Would anyone, that's the last speaker we have registered. Would anyone else like to come forward and give public comment? Well, one at a time. They can come up, they can state their name. They have 3 minutes. Sir, please come up. You can state your name, county residence, and you have 3 minutes, sir. Thank you. Can we get the clock, is the clock back functional?
It's at 3.
Yeah, it's at 3. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me for going ahead of them. My name is Robert John Inholson of Center Lake, Manatee County. My mailing is Sarasota. I worked my tail off and I paid for my home. I've been in there and we've had, in 30-some years that we've lived there, or the time I've been, I can't remember the length of time, but I've been through 3 floods. One, I didn't have to bail out my house. The last one we did, that was 7 years ago. I lost everything. The county said, okay, we're gonna fix that. So they had a Corps of Engineers, and I don't know how many $100 million they spent to have it looked at. But nothing has ever been done. And as I am, and I'll tell everybody that stands here, it takes me 3 years for anybody to repossess my home. But I believe that if something is not done ASAP, I believe that everybody that had a flood should take their tax money and put it in the bank and draw interest on it and wait till the last day that they have to pay their tax before they kick them out. Of course, I don't think I'll ever live that long. I'm 84. My wife is 84. I'm having a heck of a time with her. Bothering her real bad. I'm living with my family. I have sons in here from Colorado and Denver and North Carolina to help me. But I don't understand why nothing has been done. They said we'll pump. We'll pump. Oh, they pumped after the fact. After the river was going, after Pierce Drain was draining and the lake was draining, now they start pumping. I was in my house and they were pumping. They don't make no sense to me. I understand you people up here, honestly, I know there is probably not an engineer in any one of you. You don't know what's going on. You know that you're running this county. But I don't just understand what's going on. You're building a memorial park. One of you, whoever said, is building a memorial park in North County for $50 million. What do we need it for? My buddies don't need it. What do they need it for? You could take $350,000 and $350 a home in our neighborhood and $25 million and buy us out and bulldoze the darn thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to come forward? Yes, ma'am. Let's come forward and state your name, county residence. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Donna Larice. I'm a Manatee County resident. I live in the Woods and Bluffs neighborhood of Summerfield and Lakewood Ranch. On Monday, August 5th, fortunately, I was texted and called off work because of the storm and just that we wanted to recuperate, I guess the office said, from the weekend storm. The storm was off our coast now and past us for the most part. I am so thankful that I stayed home, or I was able to stay home. There were others that weren't, that went to work, and unfortunately, they were called back in a hurry later on in the morning and had a very, very hard time getting back. We had rain on and off, but it wasn't the heavy, heavy storms of the past weekend. It was the water surge not coming from the creek that was in my backyard, but it was from the street. It was coming from the street onto our property from the front. The storm drainage was inundated, and like you said, Commissioner Kevin, this is a recovery time. There's going to be an analysis. I want to know where that report is coming from, and I hope it's independent and expert report from people that have knowledge of stormwater management, from wetlands management, because this commission has hired non-experts before. We need experts, we need transparency for this water management and to understand why we were flooded. My community, our neighbors are back behind me. I completely am with Jill's testimony here, what she had to say. We had a lady come back to our neighborhood and kind of ask us a few questions on Sunday. Mr. Commissioner Ray, I think you're in our district or our area. I want to see you in our community, and I hope you are. And I hope you interview some of us to find out truly how we were impacted by the storm. Because like my neighbors behind me, we had to rip out all our floors and our drywall. And fortunately, my mother and my father live in the River Club community. They did not have water in their house, but their whole street flooded, and a lot of their neighbors flooded on Pine Valley and River Club, which was also severely impacted by this flood. I hope that there is a very urgent analysis to understand why our neighbors and others in our county and in Sarasota County were impacted. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward and speak? Good morning, sir. You have 3 minutes, and please state your name and county of residence.
Good morning. My name is Steve Kuchek. I live in the same community that Donna lives in, Summerfield Woods and Lakewood Ranch. My wife and I are resident of that community for 29 years. And this exact event happened once before back in the late 90s when we first moved into the community. Same scenario. The dam was released. Summerfield Woods, Summerfield Bluffs, completely underwater. Fortunately, that time, my house was not destroyed. It got as far as my doorway. From that event, you would have thought the county learned their lesson on what to do. Obviously, it wasn't accomplished. There have been independent reports circulating in the media where the day of the storm, it was told by someone to the local rescue people, the fire department, they were about to leave to return to their respective places. They were told not to leave because they knew that a rescue event was going to be necessary. Water management had one simple job: manage water. Over a week in advance, we knew this storm was coming. Water management should have had a game plan. They had 7 days or more to decide how to take care of this storm. Obviously, they didn't. Water is sold to Sarasota, Tampa, and anywhere else. Why couldn't you just give that water to them or do something else with the water? We had a representative from the Red Cross come to us yesterday for the very first time, and that's because the Red Cross, she said, did not know this happened to our community. Did not know. How could it be? My wife and I have to now use whatever retirement money we have saved to fix our lives right now. And once that's fixed, I don't know what the hell I'm going to live on. It sure ain't going to be Social Security, especially with the cost of living these days. As it was mentioned, we're only in August. What's going to happen in the next 3 months when the next storm comes? That's going to be maybe even worse. Or next year, or the year after. So, as Donna mentioned, whatever independent study you come up with, you need people who know what they're talking about.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, just state your name.
My name's Lynn.
Take your time.
My name's Lynn Kuchek. I'm the wife of Steve. I'm not sure if I can even say anything because I'm so distraught. On Monday, my husband went to work at 7 o'clock. There was no water in the street. I went for a walk around the neighbourhood onto Clubhouse Drive, just saw some water on the left and the right of that road. Went back to the house. I thought I better not fall like my husband did during Ian and fractured his face. And went back to the house, came back out maybe an hour later, and we were waving to each other across this river in front of the house. Then I went into panic mode. I'm phoning my husband, I'm phoning my son. They, don't worry, it's going to be okay. My Aunt Jean phones me from the other coast. You've got away with it. I said, Aunt Jean, no, the river's in the front of the yard. And then as I'm talking to her, I see the drain in the back. I'm shaking. I said, it's bubbling up at the back. I don't know what that is, but it's coming. I kept phoning her. I said, please get home. And it's getting closer and closer to the house. And my husband tried to get back, but it was too late. He couldn't get in. And here I am running around the house trying to stop the water getting. I used every towel I had. I was trying to pick things off the floor. Oh, I'm 70 years old. I don't probably look it, but I'm 70 years old. I'm retired. My husband does have a job at the moment, but it's nowhere near what he used to earn. So now I've got to go through any money I have to rebuild this house, which we paid for. And where do we go from here? I'm not going to be able to enjoy my retirement now because I'm going to have to salvage my life. I'm just totally distraught. Everybody's abandoned us. Nobody's been out to see us. We've got neighbours coming from different neighbourhoods that are finding out and bringing us sandwiches. I've got a young couple with a 2-year-old that have let us move into their house for temporary shelter so that I can go back to the house when I need to. I've had people taking stuff out of my drive. I'm stood there and there's people sitting on my sofa in the driveway. I had to call called Matt about it. And he took care of that. He told them to do more patrols, and the company that's doing the restoration, they removed everything else that was on the driveway yesterday. But on Sunday, there were just vultures coming around trying to rifle through our stuff in the driveway. That's trespassing. Where were the police? Where was somebody coming out to say, you need to get... My car was in the garage under 14 inches of water. The back fence, it's up to 24 inches. That's how high it was in the back. And there's effluent, category 3 water to all my stuff, all my things. I tried to get the photographs from underneath the window seats, but it was too late. I mean, I forgot about things in the closet. I was scrambling all over the place trying to save what I had.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anyone else like to come forward and speak? Please come down. If you know you're going to speak, come on down. You can sit up front, and when the next person's done, you can. Oh, wait.
Okay, my name is Leah Evans. I live off of Jim Davis Parish, Manatee County resident. I woke up at 7 a.m. Monday morning, fully anticipating going to work. I looked out my window and saw that the creek was slightly raised. I woke up my husband and told him, I think we might flood from this. We rode out Hurricane Ian in the past. This was much different. It came so quick and so much higher. We raced downstairs, stacked everything we could on chairs. This has always been sufficient in the past. By 8 a.m., the flood was already seeping into our downstairs. We ran around trying to save everything that we could. One of our chickens drowned. We parked all of our cars on the road, which we've done for hurricanes. We got one car out, and 30 minutes later, the rest of the vehicles were already submerged. We stacked 200 pounds of weights on our well system, and part of it still ended up floating away, which resulted in us losing water. Our above-ground pool flooded over with stormwater. Everything literally just floated away. Sorry. The cows had water to their necks, and all night they were mooing in distress. None of our neighbors had time to evacuate their animals. Our next door neighbor had lived here 20 years and never got water in her home. This storm, she got 2 to 3 feet of water inside, and she lost her home. Her family and her animals had to evacuate into ours. We had no running water, and eventually we had to evacuate the next day. The neighbors had a jet ski, but I didn't feel comfortable taking my 4-year-old son over the creek bridge without a life jacket and then still having to swim out. It was flooded over 20 feet at that creek. The water was above my husband's head on the road. Eventually, I called for 311 for assistance for me and my son. They brought a tall amphibious vehicle, but they still couldn't get to us. Ultimately, I had to put my son on a jet ski to where they could get to us. We're now trying to process how this flood water came so quick and high. I know there's multiple factors in this. A few years back, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, the Jim Davis Road at Golf Course, they actually moved the entire road, and they moved the road closer to the creek so that they could put a housing development there. During this storm, Jim Davis and Golf Course, and of course 675, became flooded and impassable for days, which has not happened in the past. We have had some flooding on Jim Davis, but nothing like this. I'm just wondering if this is going to be the new normal every time a storm comes. And why aren't the developers being held accountable for this? They're destroying the lands and flooding out the farmers. Why are we not looking at stormwater impacts prior to these new developments being approved?
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, before you speak, we're coming up on right at the 30 minutes. Would the board like to continue? Okay. Yes, okay, thank you. Come forward, ma'am, thank you.
Hello, my name is Ivana Miščević, and I am Manatee County resident. And my neighbors, Jill and all the others, said everything. That Monday morning, 8 o'clock, I was walking the dog, and everything seemed fine. My husband's supposed to go to work, so he checked the area. We did not get any warnings that we need to evacuate or anything like that. Whatever they said, the damage, the cars, the house, I suffered all that. But I am a mother of a 9-year-old boy who has a muscular dystrophy, and for me to evacuate, I need extra time. My right hand, my older son, who's 14, had a broken collarbone. So I expect county to do the work and take responsibility if there is any with this damage, and to prevent this in future and take care of the residents, because some of us, we need a little bit more time. Thank you.
Yes, sir, please come forward.
Hi, I'm Vincent Cantino, longtime resident of Manatee County, specifically in the Lakewood Ranch area. I live in an area where we have 55 plus homes. All of them are destroyed, so essentially, internally anyway. All of them. That area consists of River Club Boulevard, Pine Valley, Pine Lily, and Marigold, the streets. My house, in the back of my house, I live in a zero flood zone, but the back of the house has the Braden River. That was not the cause. I detest anybody even thinking about talking about that in the media, and yet I've seen it. I called up this morning to get the garbage that's on my lawn, which is now starting to smell. I fear we're going to have some animals if we don't get the garbage trucks in soon. I was told that they were supposed to come start this morning anyway. That's a good sign. But when I called up the Manatee Utilities, the fellow that answered didn't even know what the heck was going on in our area. And he's in Manatee Utilities. I don't understand that, except for I may present this, that I don't think that the tragedy that we've suffered in this area has been fully vetted and put out to the public. Okay, so I guess the only thing I can do that's worthwhile, because everybody else has said exactly what I wanted to say, is that I think that there should be some compensation from the town, from the county, whatever, that goes back to the people that lost everything, and you've heard that from several people here, and so that's my presentation here. I think we should be compensated for some of this in any event, and I'd like obviously they've asked you to come on out. I'm sure some of you have come out. Talked to Mr. Turner before about that, and it was good to know that he came out. But I think that much attention should be paid to our area and given it priority too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to come forward and speak on this and speak before the board? All right. You already spoke, sir. I can only give you one time. If we're done, I'm going to close. If nobody else is speaking, I'm going to close public comment. But let everyone in the room know that Public Safety Director Jody Fisk is in the lobby to meet with all y'all to direct you in the right direction or get our teams out there to where you are. But it's all Summerfield Woods and Bluffs, correct? Is that where y'all live? Okay. All right. And River Club. All right. I'm just taking notes.
Chair, so Jody is going to go out to the lobby. She's going to stand up right now so everybody knows who she is. The biggest thing is just to provide her with your address so she can connect a resource to go to you and find out what your needs are. That's really the first step. So if you can just make connection with her in the lobby and provide her your contact information.
Sir, we're going to the board, sir. Yeah, we don't need yelling at the board. Thank you. All right, we have several commissioners on the board. Commissioner Cruz, I don't know why I can't click on you. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cruz, you're up first.
Yeah, a couple things. One of it for all of you, walk out just to answer you.
Yeah.
There are some resources. There's a couple of things we need to do post-storm. One is to assess what we did right, what we did wrong. We should do that for everything, whether it's traffic or storms. So it will be done, and I agree it does need to be independent. You can't trust anyone to look over their own shoulder. We need to understand because eventually there will be another storm like this, so we need to understand best practices. So I fully agree with you. That needs to be done, not just about the dam, but about our infrastructure as a whole and our stormwater and our canals. And, how can we ensure this doesn't happen again? The second part is, and I talked to some people and said about this, part of it is just getting this information out a little bit better. Because like some of you are saying, because I spent over 2 hours in Summerfield Bluffs on Sunday, and we had a massive distribution. In fact, the distribution collection was so large on Sunday, specifically for Summerfield, that we ended up bringing in flatbed trucks from the county and moving the rest of it to Mayaca because we couldn't get rid of all of it. There was so much stuff, and we were going around putting cases of water in front of everyone's house. We were knocking on doors. We were asking what was going on. I reached out to the county and Courtney and Jody and Carmine and Charlie and a bunch of people from the county all came down for it, and we were all out in the neighborhood talking with everyone to assess it. I was taking pictures and sending it in with the county. But that information just may not have been properly disseminated out. We also went to River Club because it's obviously right next door and connected to it. And up to Jim Davis, and I talked to some residents up there. But it wasn't information that was properly disseminated because everyone just relies on things like Nextdoor and Facebook and hopes that somebody's friend shares something to see it. So that's the other thing we need to look at is there a best practices where we can have a website or information we can get out to say, hey, there's a distribution. It was at Summerfield Park is where everyone dropped it off, and then we were driving it down. In fact, a company called Junk Shots was the ones distributing it for us. They brought their trucks in and did it. So there are a lot of things that are going on to assist where we can. FEMA just gave, is now open for uninsured to apply. You can go to disasterassistance.gov and apply for that. There's also a phone number. So there's a lot of information. We just need a better place to consolidate it to allow people to know, because it's unfortunate because we had, Courtney, how many people we have? Like 5 different people from the county on Sunday for a couple of hours out there, and Vern Buchanan's office had somebody out there. But we started collections at 11 a.m. We were distributing until after 2 p.m. And at that point in time, we distributed to everyone that we could find, and that's when we brought the rest of it out to the community center out there in Mayaca. Understood. I'm just saying please reach out to us, because we're admittedly, government as a whole sometimes is more reactive than proactive. I'll be the first to admit that. But, we are trying to get this, we are trying to get out to everybody and see everybody. But, everyone in Summerfield who emailed me, I emailed back and sent the information about FEMA on the website to go to. But I admit, we need a better system of being able to disseminate that to you rather than waiting for you to ask for the information. But there is support, so please continue reaching out to us, whether it's going to talk to Jody in the lobby right now or emailing any of us after this, and we'll do what we can. As you're reaching out to us, we'll get back to you, and we'll do a better job of getting that information out to you without you having to ask for it in the future.
There's no back and forth, please. Please, ma'am, I understand, but there's no back and forth.
I have to go now apply for a $100,000 plus loan to fix my house. I forgot to mention that.
Okay. Ma'am, I understand, but there's no back and forth. I appreciate, we understand, and Jody is out in the lobby to get all your information, to get the best amount of resources we can get out to you as fast as we can. Next on the board is Commissioner Ballard.
Well, I wanted to speak to some of the people who experienced this, but unfortunately,
hey, stop.
Yeah, I don't think we have anybody left.
Can everybody look? I'm gonna if we don't get back to where we need to be, I'm gonna gavel it and we're gonna clear the room. So if everyone could please, the commissioners are responding to the audience. If we have quiet, if you want to come back in and sit down and hear the commissioners' responses, that's great. But we don't need arguing back and forth with the commissioners. We're not going to do that. We're going to we got Jody Fisk out, our public safety director, out in the lobby to assist everyone. So if we could do that, if we could all sit down, please. If we could sit down, we'd appreciate it. If you're going to stay, we don't need standing. Well, Commissioner Ballard would like to address everyone that walked out of the room, and if you want to come back in, please come back in. But we need we need to get this under control. So, Commissioner Ballard.
So, to anybody who did speak, I do just want to say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what has happened to you, and that that you're suffering. You're not alone. They're at my home. A quarter mile away, we had people who flooded pretty severely, lost cars, and had to evacuate. I have damage to my home as well. So I understand what you're going through. I'm experiencing it as well. I agree with you that we do need an independent investigation. I will absolutely support that. I think we've all been out in the community trying to support. I have been out to assist a family in Center Lake, which is just much closer to my neighborhood. But if there's anything that you want or need assistance with, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help. You're not alone, and I understand your anger and your frustration. I would feel the same way. So that's all. I just wanted to let you know that I get it. We're human up here too, and I'm sorry. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Yeah, I'm acutely aware of River Club. Some of our best friends live in River Club, so I was getting sent videos in the height of it, so I was really privy to it. What I'd ask is, I'm not sure, was it Matt? Matt is kind of the unanointed leader. If you could just reach out to my office and set up a meeting with you guys. I didn't run into you guys personally. I was through there. I was through Summerfield as well. Summerfield was hard hit. I've lived here for 21 years, socialized with my friends in River Club and other storms. If I look on the map here, it's just south of Clubhouse Drive and west of River Club Drive, where the Braden River runs through there. That's a low spot. Like, we've seen flooding there. We're walking the dogs, and that street gets flooded, but not the houses. So I would like to see how we can mitigate our problems with Braden River with it running through both those communities. So if you would, you're in the, ma'am, I'm not sure what your name is. I'm looking at you. If you could reach out, yes. If you could reach out to my office, Dana Summers will put you on the schedule, and then I'll come out and, try maybe organize the efforts here a little bit more and what services are available to you. Ray Turner. Thanks.
Commissioner Van Ostenbridge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kind of cross half of what I was going to say off the list because it's already been said. We do get out and about. We do go out and look. In my district, I've been to Anna Marie Island, Longboat Key, Rabonia, was in Star Farms and drove through River Club yesterday. I didn't make it to Summerfield. I will today. Each storm is different. Because I hear people making comments about Ian versus Idalia. Some storms are wind, some storms are rising water, some storms like this one are rain. And I hear people saying things like, we've never seen it this high, and we haven't. I'm the only one up here who's born and raised in Manatee County, and I haven't seen it that high in those places either. Also, we've not seen Gamble Creek at that level before either. I don't know about the Braden River, but I know Gamble Creek was at 100-year flood stage. None of us is going to have seen that before. That's just a truth. Clearly, communication is something that we will reflect on, and realize that we could have done better. It's frustrating for us as well because we feel like we have all these lines of communication and we're signing this number of people up each month for alerts and that sort of thing, and we feel like, gosh, our communication is outstanding, yet clearly it wasn't. Clearly we didn't get to people like we thought we would, and that's something that we're going to reflect on, and we'll make changes, and we will do better. As far as the dam goes, I'm not an engineer, but it'll be looked at, it'll be investigated, and we'll get a report and it will be in layman's terms, and we'll be able to make decisions based on that. Flood maps, without pointing fingers, we'll just say that there are folks who did not have flood insurance, who were not told they needed flood insurance, who in county flood maps were in a flood zone and on FEMA flood maps were not. We pass that information on. Again, without pointing fingers, you are not in a FEMA flood zone. We've talked to Congressman Buchanan already about it. He's aware. He's as furious as we are about it. I would expect to see some action in those regards. And then lastly, we did eventually yesterday, the day before, qualify for FEMA assistance. You do qualify for FEMA assistance. We're putting that information out everywhere that we possibly can. So hopefully it's not hard to find and disseminate. But in the end, this whole situation will be fully vetted. We will do better in the future. That we can promise you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. We do feel for you guys. I mean, we're not mindless or heartless robots sitting up here. We do care. I mean, I'm a lifelong resident. I was born and raised here, and I've never seen it this bad either. It's heartbreaking to see what's going on. And I can tell you, this county and this board will do everything we can to help you guys. I mean, we will. I promise you that. As a chair, I promise you that. You can also reach out to me anytime. I'm going to be out. I'm going to go out. I live in Center Lake. I was out in Center Lake. I was out in Shady Brook. Those are two areas that flood in my district. We're working on stormwater management in those areas. In fact, we're building an 11-acre storm retention pond to help with, so we can retain this water when it comes down like it did. Director Fisk, she's a great resource. She can reach out to a lot of people. She'll guarantee you she'll get help to you. I can't say how this has been a horrible event. It's a horrible event for a lot of people, and I can tell you this board will do something about it. But rest assured of that. So if there's not any other commissioner comments, what I'd like to do, I'm going to take a 15-minute break, and we'll be in recess for 15 minutes. Give staff and everybody a time to take a quick break. Thank you very much. And we're back with our regularly scheduled meeting. And we're moving on to the consent agenda. And being that there was no items pulled from consent, I look for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Got a moved by Commissioner Cruz, seconded by Commissioner Bearden. If everyone would cast their votes now.
We need public comment.
Hmm?
Public
Oh,
comment.
that's right, sorry. Is there any public comment on consent? Seeing none, can you cast your votes now? Cast your votes. Hey, Ray, can you cast your vote? Well, we need it on the board.
Yep, I'm right here.
Okay. Everybody cast their vote? Okay, it's not moving it, but the motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the next item is going to be items for presentation upon request. Starting with item 34, is you like to see item upon request presentations. Do I need to read that in, or does? I'll read it in.
Yes.
Item 34, adoption of resolution R24-154, authorizing repayment of the Community Development Block Grant Program for the sale of 28th Street Court East Palmetto. Do we? Are you guys here for that?
Sorry?
Are you here for that item?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Anybody in the presentation? Anybody want to talk about it? Okay. No presentation needed.
Thank
Is there any public comment regarding item 34? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. If everyone could cast your votes now. It's approved by Commissioner Cruz, second by Commissioner Bearden. All right. Developmental Services, item 35. Developmental Services, anybody from Developmental Services here? Anybody need a presentation on item 35? Okay. No presentation needed. I'll open up for public comment. Any public comment regarding item 35? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. If I get a motion, it'll be on the,
There's no action.
oh, it's the first reading, sorry, it's first reading, so we don't need, there's no vote on that. Item 36? Anybody need a presentation on item 36? All right, no? Thank you, Ms. Layton. Any public comment on 36? None, seeing none. We'll move on to item 37, financial management. Anybody like a presentation on item 37? Okay. But we're not on hook for it. We're not on hook for it. I was waiting for you to go like this. Any presentation on this? Seeing none, open item 37 for public comment. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. If the motion's been moved by Commissioner Turner, seconded by Commissioner Bearden. If you catch your votes now. And I'm assuming the item carried 6-0. Thank you very much. Item 38, would anyone like a presentation on item 38? Seeing none, open up for public comment. Seeing no public comment, close public comment. If there's a motion on the board for item 38. Moved by Commissioner Van Osselbridge, second by Commissioner Turner. If you could cast your votes now. Thank you, and the item carries 6-0. Item 39, would anybody need a presentation on item 39? Seeing none, I'll open up for public comment. Seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment. And there's a motion, and it's been moved by Commissioner Cruz, seconded by Commissioner Turner. Everybody would cast their votes now. And now, here's the fun one. I'm positive. I have asked the county attorney many, many times on this one. Who didn't vote? Everybody voted?
No.
Got it.
Okay, there it is. Okay. Yeah, be ready. Item 39, moved by Commissioner Cruz, seconded by Commissioner okay, here we go. Item number, Public Works, item number 40. Anybody need no presentation, I'm assuming. Open it for public comment. No public comment, close public comment. I didn't even get a chance to vote. I didn't abstaining. I know, but I mean, I still got to open public comment, and we still have to vote. So we'll go as fast as we can. Item 41, no presentation asked for. No, anyone for public comment? No public comment. Close public comment. Moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, second by Commissioner Turner. If you cast your votes now. Motion carries 6-0. Item 42.
Oh.
No presentation.
Chairman, hold on. You went on item 40.
Well, we did 40, 41, now we're on 42.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to do 43 now.
Sorry. Seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment. Moved by Commissioner Ballard, second by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge. Please cast your votes now. Item 43, no presentations required or requested. Open public comment. Seeing no public comment, close public comment. Moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, second by Commissioner Bearden. If you please cast your votes now. And item 43 carries 6-0. Item 44, no presentation asked for. Open public comment. Seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment. The motion is moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, seconded by Commissioner Turner. Please cast your votes now. And the motion carries 6-0. Item 45, no presentation requested. I'll open for public comment. See nobody for public comment. I'll close public comment, and the motion's been moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, seconded by Commissioner Turner. And cast your votes now. And the motion carries 6-0. Item 46, no presentation has been requested. I'll open the item for public comment. See no public comment, I'll close public comment. Item 46 has been moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. If you please cast your votes now. Item 47, seeing no presentation requested, I'll open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment. And the motion's been moved by Commissioner Turner and seconded by Commissioner Ballard. Please cast your votes now. Motion carries 6-0. Item 48, seeing no presentation, I'll open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment. And 48, it's been moved by Commissioner Turner, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. If you cast your votes now. All right, and that carries 6-0. Item 49, see no presentation requested. Open for public comment. Close public comment. It's been moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. And please cast your votes now. And the motion carries 6-0. Item 50, no presentation requested. Open for public comment. See no public comment, I'll close public comment. The motion, it's been moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge and seconded by Commissioner Ballard. Cast your votes now. Motion carries 6-0. Item 51, see no presentation requested. Open for public comment. See no public comment, I'll close public comment. The 49 has been moved by Commissioner Turner, seconded by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge. Please cast your votes now. Item 52, no presentation requested. Open for public comment. See no public comment, I'll close public comment. The item's been moved by Commissioner Turner, seconded by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge. Cast your votes now. Item carries 6-0. Item 53, no presentation requested. See no open for public comment. See no, I'll close public comment. And item 53 has been moved by Commissioner Turner, seconded by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge. Please cast your votes now. And the motion carries 6-0. Item number 54, see no presentation requested. I'll open for public comment. See no public comment, I close public comment. You know, wow, there was a fight for that one. The item 54 has been moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. Cast your votes now. Motion carries 6-0. Item 55, no presentation requested. I'll open public comment. See no public comment, I'll close public comment.
So fast.
And now the items have been moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. No. Item 56, and the last one. No presentation requested. I'll open for public comment. See no public comment, I'll close public comment. The item's been moved by Commissioner Van Ossenbridge and seconded by Commissioner Ballard. And that is all those items. Now I need to recess. Okay.
Somebody's wrong with my clicker.
Yeah, we turned yours off. Oh, yeah, please cast your votes. Sorry, I thought we did that. And it's, motion carries 6-0. Thank you. All right, moving down to our next regular part of the agenda is we have the Sarasota Manatee Metropolitan Planning Organization Citizen Advisory Board applications. There was some confusion. Madam Attorney, did we sort that out? About there's one at large, one disabled, and one not unincorporated.
Was someone from the MPO here?
Is someone from the MPO here? Yes,
Well, the confusion that I had when I looked at the item, Mr. Chair and fellow commissioners, was it said on the agenda item that they were seeking to fill one at large disabled, and one unincorporated, but I noticed, at least on the website, that the only vacancies were in the unincorporated and the at-large disabled. And if you look at the actual applications themselves, where it says the seat you're interested in, no one actually applied for the at-large. All the applications were either for the at-large disabled or for the unincorporated. So I'm kind of disappointed no one's from the MPO is here to clarify that confusion. You should, I think you can fill those 2 seats, and then to the extent that there may be a third vacancy that needs to be filled, the MPO needs to come back and deal with that.
Okay, so we're going to vote on we're going to nominate and vote on the disabled and the unincorporated. Is that correct? All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. All right, at this point, any commissioners like to nominate someone for the at-large disabled?
Yeah, I'll nominate Pat Simmons.
Okay. And, all right, is there anybody, any other nominations? I think there were 2. All right. So, any discussion or anything? No, we all love Pat, she's great.
Yeah.
So at this time,
I move to close nominations.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Thank you. And I'll call for a vote. Okay. Okay. Is there any public? I'll open up for public comment on the at-large position for the MPO disabled. Say none. I'll close public comment.
I would.
You won. You want to talk about?
You've been nominated. I would strongly disagree with public comment at this point. You can only mess it up, Pat. You're gonna get it. Sometimes know when you're winning and just let it go.
Yeah, if you'd like to come up and speak, Pat, you're more than welcome. But if you'd like to come up and speak, you can. But you've already been nominated, so we're getting ready to vote.
Commissioner, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
If she wishes to speak, we
I
should encourage her to do so. And
I did. I said if she'd like to speak, she can.
Just making her understand what was going on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Pat Simmons, Manatee County, thank you very much for this nomination.
Her microphone's not on. Q, can you help her? Thank you, Q. Yeah.
First, I want to say, because of what I heard today, can you imagine someone in a wheelchair that sees storm water coming down the street or in their yards and knowing they can't go anywhere? So thank you for this nomination, and I plan to use it to create and make sure that there's access for all people with disabilities in Manatee County.
Thank you, Pat. All right, seeing no one else for public comment, we'll go ahead and vote on the nomination for disabled at large. And I'll do my voice. All those in favor of Pat being nominated for the at-large disabled position MPO. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, ma'am. You're on the MPO. Citizens Advisory. Yeah. You don't get paid for this job. All right, next up is we're going to,
Chair.
ma'am?
Just officially state that having received the highest number of votes, she's appointed for the position at large disabled for the clerk's benefit.
Thank you, Madam Attorney.
That word for word.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Attorney. What the Madam Attorney said. Now we're going to move into the, for the unincorporated. Is there any I'm going to go ahead and open nominations for any commissioners would like to nominate someone for the unincorporated position on the MPO Citizens Advisory Board. I mean, I'm just looking through this.
I'll nominate John Agnelli.
Commissioner Ballard has nominated John Agnelli for the position.
I'll close nominations.
Thank you, sir. A second on the close nominations? I'll second closing nominations. All right. Is there, for hearing no other, anyone being nominated, I'll ask for public comment. Seeing no public comment on unincorporated MPO position on the Citizens Advisory Board, I'll go ahead and close public comment and ask over there, the motion's up. All right. So the motion's been moved by Commissioner Van Ostenbridge and second by Commissioner Turner. Cast your votes now. And the motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, John. You are now on the MPO Citizens Advisory Board. All right, moving forward. Next item up is public safety. That's item 58. And that is the resolution for the nonprofit investment recommendation for Operation Warrior Resolution. Yes, sir. Good morning, Chief Crutchfield. How are you?
Good morning, Commissioners. James Crutchfield, Deputy Director of Public Safety. In front of you this morning is your reconsideration for the nonprofit investment for the Operation Warrior Resolution. My apologies. As a quick refresher, the county has three primary avenues for distributing nonprofit investments. Those include children's services, adult human services, and adult health services. Public safety oversees adult health services, which predominantly is comprised of health, behavioral health, and homeless-related programs. Through an application process, nonprofit agencies can apply and apply for investments by committing to serve county residents through results first programming. These applications that do apply, or these organizations that apply, are then scored and assessed on a comprehensive 25-point review by staff, who then make recommendations on general revenue investments. Upon approval by the board, these results first commitments are then memorialized through contractual agreements with the organizations. Last year, the board approved an updated scoring methodology, which did three primary things: prioritize critical community needs, incorporated previous performance scoring, and then established a minimum scoring threshold of 80 points. The public safety team scored these nonprofit applications and provided recommendations to you all earlier last month. Based on the updated scoring methodology adopted in 2023, Operation Warrior Resolution did not meet the recommended scoring criteria or met the scoring threshold. After further discussion with county leadership and directed by you all, we're bringing this back to the board for reconsideration. And with that being said, I'll pause if there are any questions.
Are there any questions for Deputy Director Crutchfield?
No.
All right. Thank you, sir. No questions? All right. We're good.
Okay, so would you I guess I'm seeking some guidance on if we are to execute this agreement.
Well, there's recommendation, so we'll be voting on the recommendation, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. I'd like to open up item 58 for public comment. Anyone like to come forward and speak? Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning, Chair, Commission. I'm Kendra Simpkins, the CEO and founder of Operation Warrior Resolution. I'm a Sarasota County resident, but we do lots of work in Manatee County. And I really want to express my immense appreciation for considering us for funding again this next fiscal year. We suffered storm damage, just like residents in Manatee County. Our facility had 3 feet of water flowing through it in Sarasota. And I thankfully was here this morning to be able to meet one of our veterans, Manatee County veterans that we've served, the family that spoke this morning. I had no idea that they also encountered storm damage. And thankfully, I was able to go up and remind them that Operation Warrior Resolution is here. They know that we provide counseling services. And I was greeted with a great big hug from the wife. She was very appreciative that I was here. And then I reminded her that we don't just do counseling and mental health, but we're here to just support them in any way possible. And knowing and hearing what they went through, I immediately started contacting our contractors who are working on our facility and told them that they need to get over to this veteran's house and help this family. I was contacting Home Depot, who offered supplies to us to help our facility. I told them they need to take those supplies to this family. We can figure out our facility, but this family needs help, and they can't wait for FEMA. They need to get back into their home. So I just really want to thank you. This is the work that we do in this community, and this is the work that you're helping us do. So I just can't thank you enough, and I really love being able to be out there and supporting these Manatee County veterans. And with your help, we can get them really enjoying life again and thriving in life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, item 58 has been moved by Commissioner Cruz, seconded by myself. If everyone would please cast your votes now. And the motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Kendra. So, congratulations. And if you need any of us, we're available too. So, next up is item 59, which is just a report by our Natural Resources Group, oyster restoration in Manatee County. And this is a non-voting item, just a report. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, County Attorney, County Administrator, Acting Courtney. This is a presentation by us to help explain the investments you are making with our assistance in the Manatee River, the Braden River, and our lower Tampa Bay environment. You know, with this storm, there's a lot of talk about recovery, and our environment needs recovery as well. And we're proactively working to bring about a restoration of much of the oysters that were of the Manatee River, naming it the Oyster River before. This is a substantial investment by grantors who also recognize the value of this. Sherry Swanson is heading up this group. Many of her ecological restoration specialists are here to witness this. And please take your moment to get a better understanding of the investments you are making for water quality and resiliency that oysters provide. Thank you. Sherry?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today to discuss Manatee County's resilience initiatives, focusing this discussion on our efforts to restore oysters in the Manatee River. With me today is Jenna Phillips and Rebecca Delph from Cummins Cedarburg, who support our oyster restoration efforts in several of our oyster restoration efforts. Alrighty. We plan to discuss several ongoing projects, including oyster restoration in the Manatee River, an aquaculture lease that we have for the purpose of oyster restoration, an oyster project at Robinson Preserve, our oyster shell recycling program, living shorelines that have oyster habitat, and our vulnerability assessment that considers the benefits of oysters to our community. So why are we spending time and effort restoring oysters? Here's a list of some of the benefits derived from oysters. While much attention is given to the value oysters provide for improving water quality, oysters have also been shown to benefit seagrass growth, and oysters are important for our economy, jobs, and tourism. Many recreational and commercially important fish utilize oyster reefs during some part of their lives, so oysters are also important to the fishing community. Equally important is ecosystem resilience. By returning oysters to the environment, we add resilience to ecosystems, allowing oyster habitats to help fish and marine wildlife adapt in the wake of weather disturbances, pollution events, and natural disasters. Oyster bars can also protect the shoreline from wave damage. The oyster projects our team manages are funded through competitive grants awarded to the county on the merits of our funding proposals and project successes. Here are how the projects we discussed today are being funded. Note that the total value from these funds is over $4.6 million. Importantly, no funds for these projects are coming from Manatee County's general fund. We appreciate the continued support from the Board of County Commissioners as we implement these projects through these grant programs and as we continue to look for new funding partners and opportunities. Next several slides, I'm going to give just a brief overview of the projects that I listed previously, starting with an update on our oyster restoration efforts in the Manatee River. The Manatee River was once called the Oyster River, you may have heard this, due to its vast extent of oyster habitat. Historic alterations to hydrology, overharvesting, and oyster dredging are believed to have greatly decreased the abundance of oyster habitat in the river. The Manatee River Oyster Master Plan was developed to guide the reestablishment of oysters in the Manatee River. On this map, you'll see the once aptly named Oyster River, now renamed the Manatee River. The focus area for the master plan is outlined in yellow, which includes the confluence with the Braden River. Prior to development of the master plan, Manatee County evaluated parts of the river for oyster presence, including deployment of spat collectors, shown here, to understand where oysters were settling, and mapping intertidal and subtidal oyster reefs with partners from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Research Institute and Oyster River Ecology. Now complete, the master plan is helping Manatee County prioritize locations for oyster restoration by identifying areas with the greatest potential for restoration success. In addition to working with Cummins Cedarburg to develop the master plan, we are using the plan to engage partners and leverage project opportunities. With the master plan, we wanted to understand the extent of existing oyster habitat in the river, so we evaluated historic maps, salinity maps, seagrass coverage, existing oyster habitat, and we compiled bathymetric surveys. We then headed to the river to ground truth and fill the data gaps. In the field, we performed field investigations at 8 reference sites. I don't know if you can see in the map, but they're the tiny little white triangles along the river. These sites were believed to support thriving oyster populations along the salinity gradient from Tampa Bay upriver to where salinity and oyster growth diminished. We then collected data at each site to help identify potential restoration sites. Through this exercise, we identified 45 potential restoration sites, and those are shown as the tiny pink dots. To manage the information, we divided the river into 5 segments from Tampa Bay eastward to the Fort Hammer Bridge. All right, I'm going to go quickly onto how we collected the data and then move on to the other projects. We used both objective and subjective scoring process to rank restoration site suitability. We then performed rapid field assessments to understand existing conditions at each site. Our objective scoring considered seagrass, sediment depth, oyster presence to rank the sites from least suitable for oyster restoration, and that's shown as the red, to most suitable, shown in green and purple. You can see that near the Braden River. We utilized a scoring system from 1 to 5, with 1 being likely suitable and 5 being likely not suitable. We linked the scores to colors to better visualize on a map. We also included subjective observations. For this, we tapped local knowledge of individuals most familiar with the Manatee River, including county staff and our partner with Oyster River Ecology. We utilized the same ranking system and color coding and assigned scores based on considerations such as accessibility, land ownership, marine resources, shoreline conditions, predator pressures, and boating activities. Through this process, we were able to declare a sweet spot for oyster restoration within segments 3 and 4. Notice the yellows and greens of the objective and subjective data generally align, with exceptions such as the red dot at the Braden River, which scored low at this particular point due to deep sediment at that particular spot. This outlier highlights the need to question anomalies when looking at data, since parts of segment 3 were also identified as having the highest restoration potential. In segment 5, you can see the transition where conditions shift from likely suitable for oyster restoration, greens and yellows, to likely not suitable, the oranges and the reds, as the waters become increasingly fresh and sediment depths increase. By evaluating the results, we prioritize 3 focus areas we believe offer the best chance for restoring oysters. We are now working with Cummins Cedarburg to refine data and develop preliminary restoration concepts, which I'll run through quickly. Priority Area 1 at the confluence of the Manatee and Braden Rivers has robust oyster growth, sparse seagrass coverage, and shallow sediment depths, except for that one pesky point, SC3C, which was the outlier with deep sediment, as I mentioned previously. Parts of the shoreline are eroding in Area 1, particularly along Carlton Arms, which recently permitted riprap reinforcement to protect that community. Adding oyster restoration could further reduce erosion and increase shoreline protection in that area. Another project at this location is Audubon's .Dat Dish project to reduce erosion around 3 bird sanctuary islands. We have begun speaking with Audubon about that project. Priority Area 2 is along Emerson Point Preserve near the mouth of the Manatee River. Although this area did not score high subjectively due to seagrass coverage and oyster predator pressures, the site did score high objectively, since our data points happen to not have any seagrass, although we know from observations there's vast seagrass in that area. We are further evaluating this area for smaller scale projects, since oyster restoration has the potential to add protection to Emerson Point Preserve and provide opportunities to engage volunteers. And finally, Priority Area 3 was selected as a possible aquaculture lease. Seagrass was scarce and oysters were observed growing when substrate was present. Challenges for this area could include silty sediment. However, we think this could be designed around. We're working with Cummins Cedarburg now to develop preliminary designs within these 3 priority areas. During this phase, we are performing formal seagrass surveys, refining bathymetry, and evaluating the sediments. Cummins Cedarburg is also performing coastal analysis, considering waves, winds, and shoreline resiliency. Earlier this year, Manatee County secured approval for a Florida Department of Aquaculture and Consumer Services lease for a 6.19 acre area to do subtidal oyster restoration next to a 10-acre lease secured by Oyster River Ecology for the same purpose. The sites are east of I-75, near the yellow star shown on this map. Staff deployed oysters at the Manatee County lease site this year, and we're testing installation techniques, safe ways to transport the materials by boat, and novel substrates, including different types of oyster steaks, as well as loose shell, riprap, and cinder blocks. The goal was to identify safe deployment methods to scale up the restoration timeline and reduce the amount of oyster shell required. You can see some of the substrate materials laid out on the bow of the boat in this photo. The bottom photo shows the materials after we deployed them in the water. We have since confirmed oyster settlement on these substrate materials. One technique we've been using at the lease site is oyster anchors, shown in these photos, which are basically drilled oyster shells stacked on anchors and then anchored into the river substrate. 2 requirements of the oyster lease are substrate materials must be no higher than 6 inches off the river bottom, and all lease areas must be seeded with oysters. So we're now working with Bay Shellfish Company, a local shellfish farmer, to purchase oyster seed for our lease area. Through our deployment of oysters this year, we learned that this process is labor intensive. Not only is the substrate heavy and bulky, from collecting the shell to drilling to deployment, each shell is actually touched a minimum of 5 times. The equipment, supplies, recycled shell, and riprap also require significant space for storage on land during transport by boat. In addition to working with our partners, an important part of restoration at Manatee County is our volunteers. We continue to identify opportunities to safely engage our volunteers. I'm going to try to play this GoPro video. of a recent deployment. Quintana's going to help me, I think. The GoPro video was collected during a recent oyster deployment at the lease site, and it shows how the oyster anchors are positioned along the river bottom. This is just one of the substrate techniques we are actually testing now. This was a pretty, not a very water clarity filled day, but you get the point. All right. Moving on to number 3, Manatee County secured a Florida Fish and Wildlife State Wildlife Grant to create oyster habitat at Robinson Preserve for the benefit of species of greatest conservation need. Our grant will fund us to permit, build, and monitor a 0.3-acre oyster reef with funding matched by Manatee County through in-kind services and oyster shell only. Manatee County Fish and Game contributed dollars, and the Coastal Conservation Association also made contributions to this project. A requirement of this grant will be to create intertidal oyster habitat that's exposed at low tides for the benefit of the American oyster catcher, our target species of greatest conservation need. We continue to ramp up our oyster shell recycling, recognizing the sheer volume of oyster shell we need to complete our oyster restoration projects. Manatee County manages an oyster shell recycling program. Through this program, we collect oyster half shells and recycle them to create the substrate upon which to build our oyster projects. Thanks to state funding, support from the Sarasota Bay Estuary Program, and partnerships with Waste Pro and 11 participating restaurants, we recycled approximately 25 tons of oyster shell in 2023, and we are on track to exceed that volume for 2024 with a goal of 35 tons. Our current volume collected as of last week was around 20 tons, with the fall 2024 oyster eating season still on the horizon. We are currently in the design and permitting stage for 2 living shoreline projects funded through the Resilient Florida Program and Restore funds. The project sites at Portosueño Park and Bishop Point are shown in yellow stars on this map. These sites have eroding shorelines and disintegrating seawalls. Both Portosueño and Bishop Point will include design components that enhance natural features and promote oyster growth, as well as improve the areas for public use. We are hoping to receive additional funds later this year for a living shoreline at Rose Park as well. Finally, staff are managing the Manatee County Vulnerability Assessment, which is a statewide effort funded through the Resilient Florida Program that was signed by Governor DeSantis in 2021. The goal of the vulnerability assessment has been to inventory countywide critical assets to understand flood risk and identify opportunities to make those assets more resilient. Identification of vulnerable assets will enable us to develop adaptation measures and will make us eligible for future Resilient Florida funds for implementation of those adaptation measures. While the main focus of the vulnerability assessment is built infrastructure and community facilities such as hospitals and schools, the program does include assessment of nature-based infrastructure and recognition of the role that these green spaces play in community resilience. Through this avenue, we will incorporate opportunities for oyster restoration, both for shoreline protection as well as ecosystem resilience, giving our local environment the strength and flexibility to better adapt and recover from unexpected disturbances, pollution events, and natural disasters. And there's the slide that was supposed to go with all of that. These are some of the things we were looking at. And we were also looking at how rain events do affect our community. So we will have some information on that at a later date. Our team is excited to continue to have this opportunity to advance these important oyster restoration projects on behalf of Manatee County's Board of County Commissioners and for the benefit of our community's natural resources and long-range resilience. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Van Oster, you're on the board.
Thank you, sir. Great presentation. I was writing down questions and you answered almost all of them as you went. Couple of that you didn't though. Tampa Bay Estuary Program. Are they a contributing partner in this? And the reason I ask is in the Manatee River. The Manatee River is in the Tampa Bay estuary, and so I was wondering what their level of participation is.
Yes, so they haven't been involved in any of the 6 I mentioned. However, we do work with them on other projects. We're soon going to be, I believe it's approved, to work with them with the Crooked River
Yep,
parcel.
170,000.
Yeah.
I'm on the Tampa Bay Estuary Board, that's why I asked. I haven't heard anything about this, and I was wondering if it had stalled or what was going on, and then I saw it on the agenda, and it hasn't been on any estuary board agendas. So do we want them involved? I mean,
For the oyster projects?
yeah, I mean, since Piney Point, Tampa Bay Estuary Program has put virtually all of its resources into northern part of Tampa Bay, old Tampa Bay, because after Piney Point, there was a tropical storm, blew majority of that water up into the north part of the bay where it sat, really fried seagrass up there. And so that's the most unhealthy part of the bay. And so I know that's where we've been putting all of our resources. The meetings aren't, it's not a whole lot of fun sometimes in those meetings, right? So all of our money is going out of Manatee County as a result of something that happened in Manatee County. It's not always fun to sit through those meetings. But there are still resources that could come to a project like this. I love this project, and if we can steer some estuary program monies this way, I would like to.
Yeah, we could certainly fill out applications.
Yeah, I was going to add that Give a Bay for Tampa Bay programming does come down to the Manatee River area. We also look forward to Tampa Bay's participation in developing our restoration plans and implementation at the Robinson expansion that we just simply acquired.
Yeah.
And their focus, as you mentioned, has been Upper Bay.
They have a strong. They have a strong interest in Rattlesnake Key and whatever ends up happening there.
Yes, sir.
Crooked River Ranch, obviously, we got money for that, and then the Emerson Point annexation.
Mm-hmm.
There's interest there for that as well. So,
Yes, sir.
maybe you're right. Maybe we steer the focus towards getting money for Rattlesnake and for the Emerson
expansion. Yes, sir.
That might be the way to go. Great job with the sources for recycled shell. Love that, and love how many restaurants are contributing. What about our spat sources? You mentioned a company. I didn't quite catch it.
Yeah, Bay Shellfish Company. They're a local shellfish grower, and
Where are they located?
They are located in Terracea.
Okay, gotcha. Do we do anything with? Charlie, you know the what I'm thinking of in Rabonia, the new.
Yeah, what we're speaking of is the president of that company is Kurt Himmel. Many of you may have had a chance to talk to, but the Two Docks Shellfish Company.
Two Docks, that's it, yes.
They're more the growers.
Okay.
That take the spat and the small shell, the small larvae that are produced at
Sure.
Terracea, and they put that out in the water and they grow it to a product available for restaurants. But their science, their expertise of those two gentlemen and their company, we also depend upon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just making sure we're spreading the wealth. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Riprap going in at Carlton Arms. Is riprap? Is that something that oysters will adhere to?
Yeah, so the Carlton Arms project with the riprap is not one that
No, I know it's not ours. I'm just thinking if they're putting riprap in, is it possible that our oysters are eventually going to, attach themselves to riprap one day? That's what I'm wondering.
Yes.
Okay.
It's possible they'll attach to riprap.
That's what I was thinking. Wonderful. It's disappointing the northern bank of the river didn't turn out, that looking at your map, that it wasn't more conducive to oysters. I was really hoping the northern bank of the river would be.
Well, as someone with local knowledge, maybe you can suggest some ideas for us. I'd be happy to discuss
I just thought that because of the way the river, there is a slight bend in the river
Yes.
there, and so I was hoping that when there are freshwater flushes, that they would push up to that area, and it would be a good breeding ground, just from past conversations with Charlie. But
Well, we'll
didn't
look
turn
at
out
that.
way. Okay, I mean,
Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, and then Wares Creek was the other one. I was surprised and a little disappointed it didn't work out, but it is what it is.
So, there's a lot of sediment there, as we all know.
That's what I figured.
The city of Palmetto is now building the Palmetto Bay estuary program with literally hundreds of reef balls located just to the east of Greenbridge and to the west of DeSoto Bridge. In that area, they're already seeing oyster recruitment on the structures they place there. One thing we didn't mention, I was just thinking about this now, that as oyster restoration is not only a key for habitat, but it's also a water quality benefit. And we are partnering with the city of Bradenton, who has been asked to make mitigation investments to offset their emergency discharges of wastewater. And they are going to be directing their fines and forfeiture agreements to Manatee County, to this program, to deploy oysters in along the Braden River shoreline from within the city limits of Bradenton through Carlton Arms. And that's going to be a great partnership for us. We stand ready to assist them and magnify their efforts in, again, in environmental recovery.
Yeah.
Using oysters.
The mayor and their councilors, they desperately want to be a bigger part of this. They're really excited about the project. They love it. So what is my last question is, you mentioned you might be able to find designs that would make oysters conducive in deep silt areas. Can you just briefly tell us what a design would look like?
So the gang over there,
Okay.
they're helping. We're testing out different prototypes to elevate the oysters off the bottom so that when portions of whatever substrate we put it on sink, the part where the oysters can settle would still be above the sediment. So we've been playing around with different techniques. We've gotten a couple natural mat materials that we can put out to help it not sink. So we are currently trying out a bunch of different options.
Okay, awesome. Very good. I love the project. It's great. I appreciate all the info. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for natural resources on the oyster restoration program? All right, seeing none.
Thank you.
Well, we've come to the end of the meeting, so I'm going to ask are there any commissioner agenda items that anyone would like to bring forward? Seeing none. Madam County Attorney, do you have anything? County Administrator, do you have anything? All right. Any commissioner comments? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.